We saw that we can log into our SSH server from our SSH client by using host keys. We had to use a password in order to log into the SSH server. A more secure way to log in to the server is to use so-called client keys. This means that we will not have to enter a password every time we log into the server. In order to achieve this password-free login, we create a so-called client key pair, a private and a public key pair on the SSH client. This is what you and I will do. We will copy the public key from the client over to the server. In this way, we have now achieved that we can log into the SSH server without using a password. I'll move over to the left-hand side and we will open VMware Workstation and see how we can implement client keys. I have PC3 here, I have PC4 here, and I have the VSIX2 or router 2. So I want you to do this with me over on PC3, the SSH client. We will create the client key pair. So the new client key pair that we have just created is in the folder .ssh. We have the public key here and we have the private key here. We now have to copy the public key over to PC4 as shown here in the graphic on our network diagram. I have added a little extra over here in our diagram section. It will be necessary to have the same user, in this case it's called pair, that's me, on both the client and the server PCs. So if you do not have the same user on the two devices, create a user with the same name on each device. If we have done the login from the client to the server before we started this process, we will have the known hosts file with the public key from the server. If not, we will be asked if we want to accept the public key from the host when we proceed with our creation here of the client key pair. The keys are copied, and as it says here, we can now try to log in to the SSH server on PC4. Note how we are in PC4 now over from PC3. Let's try and exit again. Log in again. And boom, we are in without entering any password. So the login now is based on the client keys. We can take a look over on PC4 to see where the key we have just copied there, where that was stored. That is actually in the file authorized keys. This is where you have the client keys from the various clients that you have allowed to log into this SSH server. And there we have the key. You can check over on the client PC and see that the public key that you have here on the server is actually the same public key as you have over on PC3. When we want to log out from the SSH server, we simply type exit and that will log us out. So I have now restarted the two PC3 and PC4. And you should do the same. This is in order to check if we can still log in password-free from PC3 to PC4. You can tick the box here so that you won't be asked for a password anymore. And we are in PC4. This was how to make password-free login for the user pair. If we want to make password-free login for more users, i.e. more secure login for more users, you will have to create those users on the client machine and on the server machine. In this case, I have Per and I have Bob on the two devices. You'll have to create both users if you want them both to have login access to the SSH server.